Hey, welcome into this edition of the Gasocast TABC preview. Big weekend coming up, as the TABC said, 600 games, 400 teams, 3 sites, going to be wild. Blue, this event has only grown, and this is year 3. Can you kind of talk about and encapsulate what this means for the state of Texas?
Well, I think that we've seen this. How it's grown is by 200. I mean, we're at 400 teams. I think the TBC started at around 150, 175 teams the first year that they did this, and then it grew to I don't know 250, 275 last year. So now you're adding 125 plus teams here, and it's everybody's talking about it. The college coaches, the high school coaches, the players. You can just see by our text feed of how many people are engaging with us and adding us to their schedules to for us to get the word out for them. I mean, this is big for the state of Texas and for the kids.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of expand on what we've been doing to prepare ourselves for this event. My phone has been ringing nonstop, Blue. Likewise, Lyndon. I know it's just been a crazy week. We're having to get our work done, kind of plan for our open period coming up. And then this is a great weekend for us to advocate for kids and to kind of show off what we can do in our scouting service, right? So I was playing around with something. This idea came to me. I wanted to build this like schedule builder, this kind of model where like we can type in criteria for college coaches and it will spit out exactly what they need. That's been a hit. We ran back the tip sheet. We have our own personal superlative list, which we're going to talk about some kids on our list today, to just continue the advocacy process. This is, Blue, I think you kind of talk about all the work that we do culminates here, right?
It does because everything that has started, and I'll go back to September of 2022 when it started in 2022 with the Gasso Fall Classics, and we're collecting data. I guess you can. When does the season start? When does it stop? Kind of thing. I don't know where the cycle really begins and ends. However, when I look back to September to those Gasso Fall Classics and gathering the information, then us all on the road. How many miles did we drive in our cars? The amount of games, the 1,200 plus games that we watch, the number of phone calls to the high school coaches, sitting there watching live streams. Just all of it comes together in this one moment of a 2.5 day period. Now we have the ear of every college coach, whether they're a subscriber or not.
No
We're
doubt.
here to help everybody. And
No
I think
doubt.
that's a formula that was built back in 1988 with Mike Kunstad. This is not just for the easy elite players or prospects, though it's really fun and you can really have some great conversations about them with college coaches and with other people. But also, it's going all the way down the line to talk to the Division threes of the world and D2s and NAIAs and low majors. It's everybody. This is for this TBC has been basically made for everybody. I feel like.
Absolutely. That's a great way to say it. It's made for everyone. And to that point, we kind of talked about what we're doing before the event. Lyndon, you and Michael Timmons, who we wish would be on here today or wish could have been on here today, are preparing some really good stuff for us and what we're going to be doing during the event. So can you expand on kind of what the Gasso team is going to be doing during the event?
For sure. I mean, this as far as content goes, might be the peak of our summer because we're going to be everywhere. I mean, we're going to try to be able to report. Like, I don't know how many times I've just during the TABC looked around and been like, "Oh my gosh, there's so many dudes out there at the same time," and trying to give the accurate what we saw evaluations to these college coaches, having those conversations, and giving them the information. If a kid goes off and has 30 or 35 in their first game, we want to let them know, hey, he's coming back up again at 2 or 3 or whatever it is. And so with my side on Twitter and having these conversations with college coaches, and obviously with what Timmons is going to be doing, with a huge kicking at courtside. It's going to be some of the most elite high school coaches, high school prospects, college coaches, media members. It's going to be everybody who's a player in Texas high school basketball should be featured at some point on that. So we're really excited to be pumping out some really great content this weekend.
Can we say
Absolutely. Oh, you
Can
go
we say
ahead.
that it's Michael Timmons, and sometimes we don't know what to expect from him. He's got something going. So
It's going to be special. It's going to be really, really special. He kind of rolled out his ideas. I mean, Lyndon, I was just going to expand a little bit, like the preparation that we're putting in for like the systems we're having to put in place to make sure what we want to get out are complicated. Like it's crazy how we're having to build all these logistics out. But I'm going to shift our attention here. The TABC obviously is an event where we focus on the players, but Blue, you brought up a great point. This is a great barometer for the teams and what the landscape of the high school season is going to look like next year. Why don't you expand a little bit more on that?
going 0-3 or 3-0 this weekend, you know, nobody has to have too many highs or to have too many lows this weekend. I think it's just going to be fun. And for me, um, hold on, guys. We might have to edit that out. I had a little frog in my throat because I'm just so excited here. I
We're
don't
not
even
editing it
Right.
out.
my brain's all over the place. Okay, don't edit it out. I had a little something there. Okay, so the high school coaches, they really do care about this weekend because they get to see a little bit of what they're going to be moving on paper. I talked to one coach yesterday. It was great. I said, man, I think that y'all are a top 10 team in the state. He goes, no, 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 no. We're a top 10 team on paper. He said, we got to go. I want to see what we're going to do and how we're going to produce and go from there. This is just a little bit of a measuring stick. Where are we now? Where do we need to be once we get into August that we have athletic period? But it's I love the way too early top 10 list that we put out last year. Who did we say that was there? Colleen Ellison. And guess what? Colleen Ellison, they were our preseason number one, or way too early number one after TABC weekend, and then they wound up at state. And so then you kind of move forward here and you look at, where does Duncanville fit now? They graduated all these guys. Where do they fit? Uh, uh, where are they going to be talking about? Where are we going to be talking about them in the conversation? And then both Vets Memorial, one's in Corpus that has made it to back-to-back regionals. They got taken out by San Antonio Vets Memorial, which I'll talk about later. Where are they going to be playing in the minds of people this early? And it's June, and we're talking about high school basketball. Is that a bad thing? No. I mean, it's just, there's so many storylines here that I can come up with, and I don't know. It's just going to kind of unravel, and then new things are going to pop up. New people are going to pop up on rosters, and it's just going to be it's going to be fun, exciting. It's going to be a controlled chaos with 400 teams.
It's a good way to put it. It's a good way to put it. Let's hop into players here. Lyndon, I'm going to pass it to you. We're talking about a guy who's kind of had a blow up spring, and he is on the must see list. That's what we're going to be kind of the superlative we're going to be hitting first. Who is the guy that you must see, Lyndon? He's blown up in spring. What's his name? Tell us a little bit about his game.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Cody. And if you've seen him this spring at all, it's very obvious why we're talking about him as a must see guy, because he's always had the size. You're always there's something there with his game. I went and saw him back in January, and he was dominant um, against Frisco Reedy, and then just has skyrocketed this spring into the summer period. I mean, has just been all over the place, picking up huge offers, producing every time we take a look at his stats and numbers and things like that. So I think it's a no brainer. I think if you're a high major coach in town this weekend, he's going to be one of those guys who is going to be underlined, circled, highlighted, everything on your sheet because you have to go see him.
Really fun matchups as well. Blue, a guy we saw at Memorial Day, really was amazing. He kind of reintroduced himself back to the state, and he ended up in, I think, at 10 or 9 in our rankings. And you're telling college coaches that you must go see him. Who is it?
It's Zion Pipkin, and the thing about watching him, remember he missed half the season here in Texas at least before he returned from an out of state school that he attended. Now you're looking at him. We got to see him at Memorial, like you said, and this is a guy that is very strong, upper body, can take the physical play as he goes to the basket, as he finishes around the rim. His jump shot, I mean, it's like he gets 3 or 4 feet off the ground. His elevation is incredible with the speed, quickness, and stop and go. Oh, well, I really want to see what colleges are going to be sitting courtside to see Zion play, because I think that he's a guy that is going to help change the the course of a game very quickly because of his speed and quickness and ability to score. Very
Yeah.
dangerous.
I'm going to hop in and talk about Ashton Simmons. I've been banging the drum for him since I saw him in November at Rick Nelson's event down at Houston Episcopal. I just love the feel, the pace, and he's just a space creator. He's just so smooth. Then I see him at the EYBL here in Dallas, electric again. I mean, almost putting up a triple double, shot 4 times, but he dominated the game. He sets the table for everyone on his group. I think that's a high major guard right there, high major point guard, special prospect, and I expect him to get a ton of attention this weekend. Moving on to shooters, okay? This is like my favorite superlative of them all, right? The shooters. Everybody asking about shooters. A couple guys that we've seen just absolutely go bonkers at our events this summer. Lyndon, who's your guy?
Yeah, Peyton Doolin, and we saw it this past weekend in Austin with AP Elite. I mean, when he gets space, it feels like the ball doesn't even touch the net. I mean, it's just straight down every single time because it's such a pure shot, and he does it with efficiency. That's the thing that impresses me is, it's the summer, it's a AAU ball, so there's a lot more space on the court. You can go out there and shoot the ball 20 times, and if you hit 5 of the 20, it looks really good on the stat sheet. But this is somebody who shoots with efficiency, and he's always moving around on the perimeter, trying to get that extra foot of space to get his shot up. And I think he's a guy, if you're a high D2, if you're a low major D1, you need to come see this kid because he can produce for you at the college level.
Absolutely. Blue?
Yeah, Aiden Weinheimer from Leander Vandergrift. 2025, 6'2". He's starting to put some weight on. His lower body's very strong. And when you see him play and you talk about that spacing, Lyndon, he's one of those guys that has such a quick trigger of catch and shoot. You look at the stat sheet, you don't see 1 or 2 3-pointers. It's always the 3, 4, 5 in a game that he's hitting. And he just can move around. He understands how to move around the perimeter to get open. And one thing that I'm very intrigued about here is that I want to, as he is transitioning, everybody is transitioning from their summer teams into their high school team for a day and a half to 3 days. Is that what is he going to look like alongside his teammates? How is he going to get open and play within their system? And just where does his game go from here? Because he's such a great shooter that he's a flamethrower.
Yeah, absolutely. My shooter is Caleb Steger, Dallas Jesuit, 2025. He's kind of fits this modern day wing shooter role in which that he carries a lot of space. He brings a lot of creates a lot of holes in the defense and spacing. And then when he catches the ball, he can literally shoot it from anywhere. He's got size, he's got length, he's a good decision maker if you run him off the line. And he can defend. I mean, this is a pretty complete basketball player that you can plug in with so many different guys. I think he makes sense for so many programs. Caleb Steger, remember the name. Heading into Blue's favorite, the bigs. Love it.
Man,
Blue, who's your big?
Right now it's Tim Fanu from Colleyville Heritage, and this is a guy that you've seen develop in a different way. He at first, he always has had the size, but now he's trimming up. He has a great coaches over there at Colleyville Heritage with him, with Steve Hambrick, who was a college coach, and then Todd Neighbors, who was a college coach. And so they are out there helping him learn the game. And the one thing that he does that you can't really teach is instincts. And when you watch him in games, whenever he's around that rim, he wants to attack it. He wants to throw it down. He wants to just kind of lean on you, feel his way around a little bit, and just get to the basket. And that's something that, you can either be an inside guy as a 5-man, or you see those guys that want to float out and do something that is out of that they can't do. He sticks with what he knows best, and that's being on that block.
Absolutely. He had some moments at our first open event where he was just really, really talented. Lyndon, we got to see this guy last weekend, and boy, did he make some noise. You want to expand on who your big is?
Yeah, John Clark. And honestly, if he was a 25 or 24 instead of a 25, he'd be up there with the must see crowd because been that good. Saw him in the season and the tools were there, but he's just continued to get better with his motor. He's unstoppable in the offensive glass. I mean, he's one of the best rebounders I've evaluated that's currently in high school right now. Um, just really active and has the skill to score on the block and hit some kind of finesse shots, but still has the frame to just bully his way around there. Was dominant this past weekend, and I expect him to be dominant. Has some really fun matchups against some other bigs around the state. So I mean, like, it's going to be one like the pool that was put together with the Klein Kane and Pasadena Memorial and et cetera. There's going to be so many good bigs on display. College coaches, you have to make getting eyes on those teams a priority.
Absolutely. I want to talk about Braden Young, Cy Falls 2024. Filling the shoes of of a stud, JoJo Tugler, and Braden's shown real flashes. So he's going to have this opportunity of having played against JoJo last year, having a great summer with Coos Elite, and then I've seen him. Man, he's got length, he's got athleticism, and he shows some real flashes. So that's a guy that I'm just really excited to see. And Cy Falls always ready to play, always has good bigs, always sets them up for success. So that's a guy who I think could take a big leap forward this weekend. Now, moving on to under the radar prospects, these are some guys who we don't know if they've gotten the attention that they probably deserve heading into this weekend. So we want to shed some light on that. Lyndon, why don't you jump and go ahead and tell us who your guy is?
Yeah, and it's an easy choice for me because Avion Jackson has been that guy every time we've seen him this spring and into the summer. I mean, when you're playing with the Atascocita, you're always going to have attention just because of the program that they have, and they always have talented kids who play hard. But I think Avion's got a really good chance this weekend to show what he can do in front of a lot of college coaches because they're deservedly so should be a lot at his courts. Just as a really active guard who can shoot, he can defend, he can be a game breaker in transition, and with that team, I'm excited to see who takes that leadership role as this senior class kind of elevates themselves and gets ready to be another great class at the Atascocita.
Absolutely, Blue. This guy led his team to a state tournament run as a junior last year. Heading into his senior year, what do you expect from? I'm gonna let you say his name.
Demarion Dennis, man, he was one of those maybe a little bit of the unknown guys that going into the playoffs because they were Vets Memorial was on a roll. Didn't they win like 34, 35, 36 straight games before they? I mean,
23 in a row or something
they
like that. Yeah.
yeah, maybe it was 30. Yeah, but it was crazy. So when you really watch them and try to pinpoint, I think at state and even before then, you could see that this was the guy. And you know, he's out there getting to the basket. He can distribute the ball. He can handle. He's a playmaker. It's now his team because the seniors are gone. I want to see what he's going to do now that he has full control of that basketball. And him being in San Antonio and even with the run that they made, I don't think there was enough focus on him or that team. And now we're on this biggest stage possible. And I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, he plays for Drive Nation on the
Yeah,
UYBL.
he was really good
Yeah,
when I
so I
saw him.
mean, and this is just a little bit of a preview for college coaches to get out there and watch him because he's got really good length. He can defend. He plays hard. He goes 94 feet. And Steve Perez, his coach, puts him in situations to succeed. Uh, uh, on the offensive and defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I'll hop in here. I'm sorry, I know it's a theme, but I'm going to go Noah Mallory, Wiley. You know, Wiley Hoops has always been about defense, playing fast, and doing all these things. So you're already getting this high baseline of what this kid already is. He's going to play hard, he's going to be tough. But throw in the fact that he's 6'4" and can shoot it, man, Noah Mallory is a guy who's under the radar, who has a chance, who has a real chance, kind of fits, like I said, that role of the modern day wing. Big, strong, thick kid. Nice, nice, nice player. Heading to off the beaten path. This one was Lyndon's idea. We're going to go outside the metroplex here. Let's get outside the big cities in Texas and let's hone in on some players that may not get um, kind of the city recognition or the city bump or whatever you want to call it. And let's talk about those players. So, Lyndon, I'm going to have you tip this one off because this was your idea.
Yeah, I mean, as a formerly off the beaten path prospect myself, I figured it's only right we give these guys their shine when we
Hey,
get the
but who found
opportunity.
you? Gasso.
Yeah, yeah, they did. They did. Y'all
The
sure did.
adjusters, baby. Come on.
Yes, yes. What a throwback. But I've actually, I've got two kids that I want to talk about here because um, Vontae Sanders, who we've seen with Crab Five twice so far this go round around the summer, has been just so impressive with what he's done as just that 6'6" wing scorer with a soft touch inside, can shoot it, can get to the rim. Really enjoyed what I saw from him. So Sherman is a team to check out, and then Keaton Bristow from Holiday has been one of the hugest stock risers from state, national, etc. To just blow up this year. And with his Holiday group, I'm excited to see them. They've got some really good all 3A matchups down there at Duncanville Fieldhouse. So if you're down in the area, you need to get eyes on this kid.
No doubt. Blue, who's your guy?
Just Josiah Ray. Here's a kid that spends his time in the summer doing mission trips, so he does not play, traditionally the summer ball. And Midland Christian is always going to be one of those teams that's going to be in contention in their TAPS division and their district. And the one thing I liked about him is that he was a guy, and it just sticks in my mind. He goes and sits on the block. He gets big. He's wide. He gets wide. He's 6'6" and can move. When he's not getting the ball, he's moving from block to block, and then he'll pop out within the offense and possibly get a look at the 3-point line, which he can knock down threes. I think that his game is developing. Obviously, sometimes it might come to a little bit of a halt because he can't continue throughout the summer as most kids do. But this kid, when he's on the court, he's hardworking. He gets a lot of done. He's going to rebound. He's going to play on the block and defend defensively. And so you got to look at him going, wow, he's a guy that's off the beaten path that should be watched by many different levels of the
Yeah.
non-division ones.
I'm going to hop in, talk about Hunter Fitch of Mejia. He's come to a couple Gassos, play with Young Pro Global. He's got length. He's got size. He's got all the makings of someone who's going to, really make an impact and kind of blow up late. He's got, like I said, the length, the size, and he just makes plays on the ball. He makes plays around the rim. He can step out and shoot it occasionally. He's definitely one that's sneaky, and you got to pay attention to with that 6'7" frame. Okay, Blue, our next segment. You brought it up. I'm mad I didn't. The
Hey, we
academic
were sitting
player.
there.
I know.
Hey,
You were
we were
like, why
sitting
didn't you
there. I was
think
like,
of
yeah,
this?
wait a minute. What are we missing here? We love
Yeah.
the academic guys. I mean, and that's I'm going to just tip this one right here with Aiden Richard. He's already been making his rounds to some Northeast schools over the
Holy
last
Cross
couple of
offer.
weeks. Yeah, he went to Boston University, I
Mhm.
believe, if I'm not mistaken, and uh, his game has gotten better. I mean, it's during the year. Obviously, he helped the San Antonio Rattlers, Reagan Rattlers, play in that awesome game against Round Rock. It was I remember many people watching it on iPhones and stuff as I was at the TAPS semifinals. Wow, I don't know why I even brought that up, but anyway, that's just kind of what I remember. Like, this guy is out there, high motor, catch and shoot. He'll move around. He'll jab step you. He uses some of the old school fundamental stuff that I'm sure John Hurst has just really told him to use to get that separation. And then all of a sudden, boom, he goes baseline on you, and he's above the rim to finish. And he's a guy that just is. He understands how to play. He understands his position, and he just gives them a big advantage because he knows his role along with everybody else on that San Antonio Reagan team.
Hey, I want to add to the Aiden Richard talk because I had kind of pinpointed him the first couple times I saw him as just this just a pure shooter, and I saw him play at our first event, our opening two cities one Gasso, and he was playing on a team with some other guys who were getting a lot more shots than him. But I saw him impacting the game, rebounding and defending, and all these other ways. And then when he got an open shot, he buried it. And I just love to see the evolution of a kid that's growing in different roles And tip your hat to Aiden. He's just gotten better and better and better, and he's on my personal list. Like I cannot wait to see what he does and what college coaches are thinking about him. But I'll just go ahead here. Ryder Bradley, saw him at our Memorial Day event. He plays for Leander. He can shoot the ball. He's tough. He defends. He just kind of checks all the boxes of a kid that you want. I can classify him as a winner. I just know what I'm getting with a guy like that. So I just wanted to give him a shout out. Also, high academic, so college coaches pay attention. Ryder Bradley, 2025 Leander High. Lyndon, who's your guy? He's kind of had a blow up too this summer.
Yeah, he has, and it's Bryson McLaughlin. I haven't seen him personally in a while, but what I saw in the high school season, I went and saw them 3 or 4 times, and every time he was impressive. Every time he went for about 20. And so another guy who you just got to make sure he's on your list if you're looking for a wing scorer, and that's Bryson McLaughlin with JP2.
Love it. Love it. All right, the games. Let's talk about games here. What are some matchups y'all are looking forward to see? Blue, I'm going to pass it to you.
Well, I guess I went heavy San Antonio Vets Memorial. So I hope head coach Steve Perez does not hate me for doing that. But where are they at right now? I mean, honestly, that's what I like to look at. Like, where are they building momentum from last year? I mean, they for 2 days, even though Dallas Kimball beat them in the semifinals and then went on to win the state title. There was a lot of buzz about Steve Perez, his coaching style, how close he had them to Kimball. So where's that momentum right now? I'm sure they're very excited. They're going to go up against three solid, high level teams. One of them being Westbrook. Where's Westbrook? Are they ready to make that Beaumont Westbrook ready to make that next step? They're in a district with Summer Creek and Atascocita, and so they're a team that's on the verge also of just turning the corner because of Ashton Simmons. You say it a lot of times right here in this office, Mass. I mean, elite guard play is going to win you a lot of games. And so that looking at that Vets Memorial, Westbrook, it has a little bit of a theme there in multiple ways for me.
Absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and go here. Probably the most high octane game that you could think of. I just want to see the space, the pace, the star-studded cast, essentially. San Antonio Brennan versus Oak Cliff Faith Family. This game is going to be like ping pong. And unfortunately, different classifications, so we'd never see it down in San Antonio. So I think these are two of the best teams in the state, and they're going to go at it head to head. I'm curious who's going to kind of be the alpha, who's going to be the guy in this game who kind of just puts their stamp on it and says, "This is mine." And a lot of storylines to watch with that one, and I'm sure a lot of coaches are going to join me in that one. So get there early for that. Lyndon, why don't you wrap us up here with your last matchup that we should all be watching?
Yeah, and this is kind of the two teams that I think have, they're going to start out in that top 10 conversation. There's a few question marks that have to be answered in terms of replacing seniors, et cetera. But I think both of these teams have real chances to think that they're capable of making a run to San Antonio this year, and that's Allen and Austin Westlake. I mean, with Allen, you always know what you're going to get with their guards, with Caden Myers and Trent Payne, with their production, and being able to just attack in transition relentlessly. With Westlake, they're a little bit more of a grind you down, but they have some really nice players, and they have a deep roster. I think they probably have 7 or 8 kids in our TBR scouting service, just in this iteration of the team alone. So which guy can kind of take the lead role and put their stamp on the game? Can Gavin Paul or one of Westlake's bigs, Jack Siders, Brody Wilhelm, try to take over? Or is it going to be the Caden Myers show for Allen? Because he was really good at Memorial Day when I last saw him.
Absolutely. That's going to wrap up.
Well, before you wrap up, I want to
I'm
make
glad.
it
I kind
clear.
of said it slowly.
Hey, I didn't mention Robert Lucero, and I didn't mention Austin Westlake. Make a note of that. And I didn't want to be left out, so let me just join the Hat Club here before we sign off. Go ahead, Matt.
Come on. Hey, got a great weekend of basketball ahead. I hope y'all are able to go out and see it. Advocate for the kids. This is a really, really special event for the state of Texas, and we look forward to seeing you. That's going to do it. Make sure you're following us. I Gasso Mass, I Gasso Blue, I Gasso Linden, at iFilm Hoopers. our
I
main
guess so,
account at
Tim.
Texas Hoops Gasso, Gasso Tim. The content's going to be out in full force. Gasso clips. I hope you hear me.
Oh
Gasso
The
yeah,
clips right
content's
here. He's
the
next to
ga-
me.
It's going to be out in full force this weekend, and we look forward to seeing you there. That's going to wrap it. Thanks.